Scientists have discovered a massive lake of boiling carbon sitting underneath the western half of the United States. This is about 700,000 square miles in size. That's about the size of Mexico. It sits 200 miles beneath the Earth's surface, and of course, scientists aren't able to see that deep into the Earth. It's too deep to drill. So geologists at Royal Holloway, which is the University of London's Department of Earth Sciences, discovered this molten carbon using a huge network of seismic sensors. They measure the Earth's vibrations, then they were able to create a picture of what it looks like down there using mathematical equations. Now, they say that this is the result of one of the tectonic plates of the Pacific Ocean forcing underneath the western USA, and it's undergoing partial melting thanks to gases like CO2 and H2O that are contained in the minerals dissolving into it. Now, researchers say that this lava is not an imminent threat. However, it will create serious chaos when it eventually erupts. A massive fireball will have to make its way to the surface. Now, researchers say that this is probably going to happen slowly over time, but if in fact it erupts all at once, this is going to throw the United States and the Earth itself into a serious state of emergency. Now, this discovery is very important because it's giving scientists some more information about the Earth's carbon emission. In fact, they're finding that the Earth, and particularly the deep Earth, plays a more important role in the global carbon cycle. Now, in 2011, the EPA only estimated the planet's carbon emission to be around 10 billion metric tons. However, scientists believe the Earth's upper mantle, which is where this molten carbon sits, gives off an estimated 100 trillion metric tons of carbon. One of the geologists, Dr. Hayyer Majumder, explains that we might not think of the deep structure of Earth as linked to climate change above us, but this discovery not only has implications for subterranean mapping, but also for our future atmosphere. For example, releasing only 1% of this CO2 into the atmosphere will be the equivalent of burning 2.3 trillion barrels of oil. To put this in perspective, if a substantial amount were to be released all at once, it would bring about an environmental disaster on the scale of nuclear warfare. Now, one of the scenarios in which this could happen is if the supervolcano at Yellowstone were to erupt. Now, the last time an eruption happened there was 640,000 years ago. If it were to erupt, it would blanket the US in a nuclear winter. Now, the volcano at Yellowstone releases around 45,000 metric tons of carbon dioxide every single day.
Frankly, we are just a few miles above some really hot magma. That magma serves as the heat that fuels the geysers and hot springs and fumaroles in the park. It's that engine that allows for the unique things that we see here in Yellowstone. We see between 1,000 and 3,000 earthquakes a year in Yellowstone. Most of them are so small, nobody ever feels them.
Swarms of small earthquakes that you can't even feel can cause the ground to go through major changes. Look at this area that was once a forest. The ground was a hospitable environment for trees to grow for a long period of time. Then in 1978, swarms of small earthquakes caused the ground in this area to rise to 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Supervolcanoes aren't just bigger volcanoes, they have a completely different mechanism. The firing mechanism is a function of the buoyancy of the gigantic magma dome and the size of the dome. It makes it much more unpredictable than a regular volcano. And about the same time these research papers were saying that the eruption of a supervolcano was a function of magma dome size, we learned that Yellowstone's magma dome is 2.5 times larger than they previously thought. 55 miles long, 18 miles wide, 3 to 9 miles deep. For the sake of comparison, let's pretend for a moment that global warming predictions used to justify global taxation of man-made global warming are true. The IPCC's worst-case scenarios range from a 1 to 3 degrees centigrade increase to a 2 to 6 degrees centigrade increase, and that's over a 100-year period. But if the Yellowstone supervolcano erupted, scientists say it could drop temperatures 10 degrees centigrade, that's about 18 degrees Fahrenheit, globally, and 12 degrees or 22 degrees Fahrenheit in the northern hemisphere for 6 to 10 years. In other words, that's 2 to 10 times the change in temperature of the most alarmist scenario that Al Gore can imagine. And it would happen immediately, not stretched out over 100 years, and it would last for a decade. That would be real climate change.
Now, this molten reservoir is not an imminent threat, but it just goes to show you how little scientists actually know about the deep Earth and the impact that the Earth itself actually has on the global carbon cycle. How are we supposed to pay a carbon tax on that?
In case you haven't heard, InfoWars has become the most influential media outlet in America. We're making freedom go viral. And now we are proud to announce a new weapon in the epic battle against the globalists. InfoWars Prime, where you can watch live high-definition feeds of The Alex Jones Show, plus exclusive insider videos from the InfoWars crew and behind-the-scenes action. Go to Infowars.com/app and download today. InfoWars Prime is available right now for your iPhone or Android. You will have access to exclusive videos that you can't see anywhere else. And that means live coverage of events and breaking news on location as it happens. You can also take advantage of amazing deals from the InfoWars store that are only available for InfoWars Prime subscribers. That's InfoWars Prime at Infowars.com/app. If you can hear my voice, you are the resistance.